Well, you know, I guess I would have to say that the thing that I learned most from Ego Trip as a collective was really about the power of team building and the power of collaboration. Those five guys are all straight up geniuses in their own unique ways. Um, and their geniuses are very complementary to one another. Um, you know, Elliot is incredibly ambitious and incredibly competitive and incredibly driven, and also obsessed with rap music and all rap music, like the good, the bad, the new, the old, things that came out 40 years ago, and what's going to come out tomorrow. It doesn't matter. He has an obsessive desire to want to understand and know about it and be immersed in it. Um, you know, Sasha is has a very sort of eclectic set of interests and influences, from skating and BMX biking to punk rock music, to sort of like more straight up, rock and roll, to, you know, knowing also tons about hip hop music. And then also, looking at everything through the lens of race and the lens of class, and having this incredible sense of humor. And Chairman Mao is, you know, uh, he has the obsession that Elliot has, except for him, it was always about the production of the music. And so he knows he has this insanely detailed understanding of how the music is made and what is going on and why things that people like are liked, and what is animating and, sort of driving that interest. And he also has an integrity and a sort of a seriousness about everything that he does. And you can see it in, the interviews that he's done on Red Bull Music Academy, with people like Doom, to the Rammellzee exhibit that he curated. Like, he cares so much about making sure that every detail of the art and the process and the artist intent is reflected in whatever it is that he is making. Gabe is absolutely one of the funniest people that I've ever met. And also so deeply into hip hop music, but coming from LA, has a very different sort of perspective, and reference base than the other guys who grew up, in Queens and Boston respectively. But Gabe is like a natural storyteller in a certain way, and he and I would, 25 years later, would collaborate on some Cypress Hill comics together. But he has this ability to mine reality and turn it into fiction in a way that is, certainly beyond my capacity. But he was able to sort of inject a lightness into a lot of what Ego Trip did, and a sort of surreality, that I think, drove a lot of the kind of like more absurdist humor that they had in there. And then, Brent is the visualizer of the crew, and he has, this sort of supernatural ability to distill what is interesting about something and then communicate that in a coherent visual language. And has his own sort of innate sense of storytelling and sense of humor. And he and I would work for, I don't know, 6 or 7 years together on Complex. And those covers are like a dive into the mind of Brent Rollins, and really, represent a conversation and a back and forth and a dialogue between him and me, where a lot of times he would sort of be pushing me to explain to him why I wanted to put this person on the cover, or what was so interesting about them, or what was their story, or why did it matter. And then he would come back with a visual representation of that. Anyway, having sung all their praises at some length, I got to watch these five guys work together seamlessly, and despite being all very, very, very different and motivated by very, very different things, come together to create one product